A very good morning. I hope you are all doing fine. And today I've come up with another important topic named Features of Effective Creative Writing. And as we have been talking about the importance of creative writing and how to improve our creative writing. And today I decided to focus on another important topic and which is known as features of effective creative writing. Let us talk about what are the features which will help us to become an effective creative writer. Before we talk about all the features of effective creative writing, I wanted to focus or I wanted to just bring to your notice that like what are the characteristic features which will help us in improving our creative writing. There are certain characteristic features of creative writing or any piece of writing to help us and to improve and to develop our writing skills. One of the primary important characteristics of creative writing is clarity. Clarity is one of the important steps, okay, which you need to develop or maybe take care while uh, writing a creative writing. Clarity is all about it will help us, okay, easily to understood by intended audience. And as I have been telling you that, okay, the clarity is one of the important features which will help the audience and to understand what exactly you wanted to convey. The second important point which I wanted you to take care in order to develop your writing skills, and particularly creative writing skills, that is conciseness. Conciseness is all about being very precise and clear, and which will help, okay, the readers or maybe target readers to understand very well and to comprehend your text clearly and neatly. And third important point, specific audience. Specific audience, I wanted to tell you that like you need to have an idea whom you are talking about, whom you are writing to. That is one of the important things, okay, which you need to develop or maybe keep that in mind, like whom you are writing. Because once if you know the level or target audience of your readers, it would be very easy to make them to understand what exactly you are writing or maybe what you are talking about or what you wanted to convey. So it is always better like to think about like your specific audience or a target audience before you start writing. The next important point, accuracy. Accuracy is another important characteristic features which I wanted you to develop to build and to enhance your writing skills. Accuracy is all about it's a factual, correct and free from bias. And what I wanted to tell you that sometimes, okay, we do often get confused. What is the difference between accuracy and fluency? Accuracy is all about, okay, being correct, like appropriateness, using appropriate examples. So it is always better, okay, to make use of particular um, sentences which are grammatically accepted, the relevant examples which you need to convey. So accuracy is like, simply you could say that, okay, not to deviate from the whole topic. So this is one of the important characteristic features of writing. Like if you're really interested to develop your writing skills. The next important point, correctness. Correctness, again, there is a similarity as I have been telling you that, okay, accuracy and correctness. When you talk about correctness, like it is always better, okay, to think of whether you are talking about sentences which are grammatically accepted or not. I mean to say that, okay, you need to be good at grammar. Unless, okay, you are very good at grammar, there is a possibility to misunderstand what exactly you are conveying through your writing. So make sure that you always, okay, aware with your grammatical structures which you're talking about or maybe making use in your writing. The next important point, comprehensiveness. Any piece of writing, or maybe the objective behind writing any piece of writing, to make your target audience to understand, or maybe to make your reader to understand and to follow what exactly you wanted to convey. So if reader or audience, or maybe target audience, if they are not able to understand what you are talking about, or maybe if they are not able to comprehend, okay, your message, definitely your efforts will go into vain. That will become useless. So make sure that your message, or any piece of writing, what you are writing or putting on paper, that makes some sense. What I mean to say that, okay, that will be understood by the reader or the receiver. So that's very, very important. And last but not least, accessibility. Accessibility is another important characteristic features of writing, and which makes a reader and to gather the information or to search for the information, and within a short span of time, or maybe a couple of seconds, without wasting their valuable time. But my question is, how do you make it as easy, or maybe how do you simplify it? So one of the best things which you can do in any writing, that is using or maybe including tables of content, and which will save time to the reader and even audience. And it is always better if you if you make use of some headings, and which will make sense, and even which would easy for the reader and to understand, and subheadings and indexes. So make sure that, like, you follow all these to make your target audience or reader, like to easily find out the information what you are talking about. So these are all the important characteristic features. It is not only just creative writing, but these are all the characteristic features which can be used in any piece of writing to develop your writing skills. So let me repeat all the characteristic features which you need to be good at in order to become an effective writer or a creative writer. Clarity, conciseness, specific audience, and accuracy, correctness, comprehensiveness, and accessibility. If you are able to follow all these characteristic features carefully, and it would be easy for you and to come up with a beautiful piece of writing. So let us move on to another features, like as I already told you that, okay, I would be talking about what are the features which will make any writer to become a great creative writer. And in this class, I wanted to focus on five important features of effective writing, and so that it would be easy for you, okay, to understand like what are the important features which will make you to become an effective creative writer. So let me read out for you, like one of the uh, important points which are features which I wanted you to take care while writing a creative writing. Focus. Focus is one of the foremost features of creative writing. The second important features of effective creative writing is organization. And third important point which I wanted you to take care, that is support and elaboration. And fourth important features of creative writing is grammatical conventions. And fifth, style. So these are all the five important and prominent features which I wanted you to be cautious while writing, or maybe while improving your creative writing. Let me repeat all five of them: focus, organization, support, and elaboration, grammatical conventions, and last but not least, style. Let us see what each one of the features means. So let me begin with focus. I have seen many of the students like they start with one point and immediately they deviate, or maybe they switch over to another point. So they don't focus on the point which they are talking about. It might be even in oral communication or written communication, but it happens with most of the students. And what I wanted to tell you that sometimes focus, I mean to say that initially when you start writing or creative writing and with a lot of enthusiasm and curiosity, you start very well. But after sometimes you will lose interest and you will keep it aside. You will not concentrate on it. So what I wanted to tell you that once if you start writing, make sure that that is relevant and appropriateness, and that is also like not deviating from what you are talking about. So focus is one of the important features of creative writing, which I wanted you to take care. Suppose if you are talking about coronavirus, make sure that okay, you talk about coronavirus instead of talking about too many other viruses. Don't jump from one idea to another idea, or maybe don't talk about too many things. So try to focus without deviating to another topics. So that is what which I wanted you to be good at if you really want to become an effective creative writer. Focus is one of the important features of creative writing. So let us move on to the second point, that is organization. Organization is another important features. Again, let me take you one of the realistic examples so that it would be easy for you to understand what exactly the organization is all about. I share the same material with most of my students, and I expect them okay to perform the same. But some of the students, they organize, okay, though they study the same material, they organize it in an extraordinary way. And some students, they might not be presenting it very well. I mean to say, they might not be very good at organizing. Or let us talk about even in our general life, some students are very good at okay to organize their room, or maybe place where they live in, or maybe workplace or any place, and some of them they least bother about. Which one do you prefer? Suppose if there is very well organized in your room and that looks very pleasant, and it would be easy for us okay to find out what uh, information which you require if you organize things. If you are not very good at organization, it would be very difficult for us to find out the exact text, or maybe exact information, or maybe let us say certificate. Okay, it would take a lot of time to find out. So even in creative writing also, organization is one of the important factors which I wanted you to take care. Organization is the progression, relatedness, and completeness of ideas. The writer establishes for the reader a well organized composition which exhibits a constancy of the purpose, and through the development of elements forming an effective beginning, middle, and end. That is what I always say. Don't ever jump from one idea to another idea. I also request you to not to beat around the bush. Come to the point, but make sure that your writing has a good beginning and good middle and ending. So these are the few points which I wanted you to take care. Like make sure that whatever the text which you are talking about, and it is very organized manner, so that it would be easy for the reader or maybe target audience to understand your text. And third important features of creative writing is support and elaboration. Like what is support, you know very well about when you talk about a general meaning. It's a kind of an assistance and elaborating, analyzing things. So how does it relates to creative writing? As I was talking about the organization, when you organize the ideas in a very organized fashion, and it is very easy to make a statement, and if you're not able to support with proper examples, it would be very difficult for the reader, or maybe target audience, or maybe your students, to understand what you are talking about. So it is always better, whatever the statements which you come up with in your writing, make sure that there will be some kind of an assistance, or maybe supportive examples or anecdotes which will help the reader and as well as even audience, target audience, and to understand. It's not only just giving you an example, but try to analyze them based on the realistic examples, so that it would be easy for the reader and to understand what you are talking about or what you are writing on a page in creative writing. So support and elaboration is another important features to become an effective writer. And fourth important point which I wanted you to take care, that is grammatical conventions. Yeah, when it comes to day-to-day spoken communication, we least bother about our grammar, because in face-to-face communication or maybe day-to-day conversations, and by looking at your nonverbal communication, sometimes it would be easy for us to understand what the speaker is talking about. But when it comes to creative writing, it's very difficult for us, okay, and to understand if you're not able to come up with a good grammar which is grammatically accurate. So, like if you want to excel in as a creative writer, like you need to be good at even all the grammatical conventions. You have to follow certain structures or grammatical rules which are accepted, so otherwise, it's very difficult to follow. There is a possibility to misunderstand you what you are talking about. So grammatical conventions involve correctness in sentence, formation, and usage, and mechanics. Mechanics, you know very well about, okay, like there are too many things which you need to talk about. Make sure that you will be very good at all these basic grammar. The writer has control of grammatical conventions that are appropriate to the writing task. Errors, if present, do not impair the reader's understanding of the ideas conveyed. Suppose if you keep making too many mistakes in your creative writing, definitely there is a possibility to have a communication barrier between the writer and as well as the reader. So make sure that being a creative writer, you always take care of your grammar. A grammar in the sense like it is always better, like you need to edit, okay, you need to check whether you're talking about the sentences which you have written are, are they grammatically accepted or not? Did you make use of correct structure or not? Did you make use of an opt word or not? So these are all the few questions which you need to examine yourself and to before you get it published. So another important features in any writing which I wanted you to develop and be little careful when it comes to grammatical conventions, uses of linkers. A linkers, what I mean to say that connecting, a linkers will help us to connect the ideas. So unfortunately, many students, they least bother about using linkers, and which connects and which joins and which will improve even the beauty of your writing skills and idioms and phrases. Okay, these are all the few things which I wanted you to be good at, like before you begin with the creative writing. And last but not least, that is style. Yeah, suppose if you read a William Shakespeare, he has his own style. Similarly, if you talk about John Milton, and he also has his own style. And even if you take some examples from poetry, John Keats has his own style. P.V. Shelley has his own style. So each one of the writers has their own style. And similarly, if you talk about some Indian writers like R.K. Narayana or maybe Mulk Anand, they focused on one particular issue, or maybe their style of writing is something differs from other writer. So being an individual creative writer, and you need to make a mark that okay, your style. So style is another important features of creative writing, which I wanted you to develop. So style is the control of language that is appropriate to the purpose, audience, and the context of writing task. This is very, very, very important. First thing is make sure that like you have control over the language. And second important thing which I wanted you to take care, you always make sure that that is quite appropriate to the purpose. And third important point, like that has to be like appropriate to the context. So these three important styles which I wanted you to follow. The writer's style is evident through word choice and sentence fluency. How do you judge a writer? Most of the times, okay, we try to evaluate them and we try to say that his vocabulary or maybe her vocabulary, the kind of vocabulary he or she uses is fabulous. So we try to judge, okay, or maybe we try to evaluate, and we try to evaluate the quality of writing based on the selected vocabulary which they have made used in their writing. So make sure that if you want to become an effective creative writer, it's very, very important to take care of the kind of words which you choose in your creative writing and sentence fluency. So, and there is also another important point which I wanted to bring to your notice in style: skillful use of precise, purposeful vocabulary. You cannot, suppose you must be a very good reader, and it doesn't mean that okay, you need to make use of all the bombastic vocabulary. So make sure that you always, okay, your text will be very precise and clear and appropriateness. And there has to be some purposeful vocabulary. You cannot, okay, simply, you are good at vocabulary. You cannot, okay, all the dump, okay, the kind of knowledge you have towards vocabulary. Try to examine yourself whether does that particular word fits into that context or not. That's very, very important. So because if you take care of this, that will definitely enhances the effectiveness of the composition through the use of appropriate words, phrases, and descriptions that engage the audience. Sentence fluency involves using a variety of sentence style to establish effective relationships between uh, and among ideas, causes, and statements appropriate to the task. So make sure that you follow very strictly all the features which I talked to you, or maybe which I explained to you, like if you really want to excel or maybe to become an effective creative writer. I hope it was very clear, and yeah, if you have any further questions and queries, and feel free to contact me. I would be very happy to attempt your questions and queries. Thank you. I hope you had a great time.